Oh, what? Nice, dude. Congrats, man.
You one
Thank
step
you.
closer, darling. Cheers.
That should
Yeah,
have
but
On
been.
Thursday, she'll make 36 weeks, and the baby could come anytime after 37. So
Yep.
we're almost home.
that don't make sense. You get somebody's dad.
What you say?
I said it doesn't make sense to me that you're about to be somebody's dad.
It doesn't make sense to you? Crazy, I could be your dad.
Hey, I was waiting for that one. I was waiting for that one.
Come on, I don't want to embarrass you in front of Izzy.
Poppy Craze. This
Look,
thing's
my
taking a
son.
while. So everybody's Apple computers, they MacBooks, they all got fucked up, right?
Wait, what do you mean?
I'm knocking on wood right now because mine's like this close. Today,
Happened?
All of a sudden, mine won't power up.
Yeah, my crashed.
I updated mine, I think, last week.
I'm gonna put Sage out here so y'all don't be like putting juju on my poor baby because it's all I got right now.
Wait, how come this is not going? Oh, we are live on YouTube already. Look at that. I didn't even know.
What's up?
I didn't even know. You ain't even know it, but I gotta mute my YouTube. Well, anyways. Just an edited out letter. Welcome to the show. Welcome to another week of quarantine. Welcome to the new life as we know it. Jaylah is live from some lawyer's office down in Florida.
You know, had to come handle some stuff, y'all.
He's live from the Barnes satellite office.
Craze is live from the boogie down.
You know what I'm saying?
Benny Banks is live from the gym. He hasn't joined us yet. He's probably getting his reps in. Trying to get all pretty. The show's produced by Trees Productions. Our photographer, CJ Wright. Today's special guest is my man, Izzy, the producer from Digital Bodega. If you guys don't know Izzy.
What's up, man? What's up?
He's worked on a bunch of projects. Welcome to the show, Iz.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you guys.
So, let's start with the basics. Who is Izzy? What is Digital Bodega? What do you do? Why are you interesting? You know?
Yeah. To start off, so Izzy, I'm a producer from the South Bronx. I've been living in the Bronx my entire life. I've been, I moved around the Bronx a bunch of times. I lived like in the Concourse. I live around 3rd Avenue, live near Longwood, and I feel like I live like right near right near what I'll say Soundview, sort of. I'm like right in the front of Soundview.
Okay.
And I've been living here for like what, 30 years almost?
Right by the New Orleans over there in Soundview.
I don't even know where that's at. I'm like right on the 6th line, Soundview or Morrison. Yeah, but I've been doing, so I've been doing content, I would say, since high school. I first joined the Ghetto Film School, like as a nonprofit. They kind of gave me like the resources and, skill sets for me to, become a filmmaker. After that, I went off to college, graduated college. I started working actually as a staff at the Ghetto Film School around 2012. I already had a degree in video arts. I did advertising and PR in college.
Nice.
And then I freelanced for like a year or two, just doing digital content.
Welcome to the show, Django.
Yeah. So, so then at the Ghetto Film School, I started like learning how to produce content. Like they had Digital Bodega there. So at that time, Digital Bodega was part of the actual Ghetto Film School. He's gonna get on top of me. So he was part of, DB was part of the Ghetto Film School. They became, it was kind of like the sister company. DB like created revenue for the nonprofit. So I was able to actually hire some of the students, train the students, give them like real world experience, actually working with brands, creating content, but also getting paid. You're like what, 16, 17 years old, and you're working on a PSA, on a music video. So you're gaining a lot of experience at a young age, and that's what Digital Bodega was doing at the time, training the young fellows from the Ghetto Film School. And I was doing that for what, maybe 4 or 5 years. And around 2017, 2016, DB just split. GFS became more focused on the nonprofit, more focused on educating students. And then DB was kind of just spin off as his own entity. And I became, the president. My business partner, Daquan, he's the VP of production. And right now it's a 3-man team. We have 1 full-time employee now, Wilmus. She's our digital strategist. And I think for DB, it's just, we love just creating content that feels authentic, story driven, and socially conscious. We're full service. We do creative from the beginning to end. So, when you come to DB, you're getting like a full service production house, that we do the casting, we do the creative for it. We handle all the contracts, and, so that way the client, they're coming in for one thing and they're only leaving, they're leaving with everything. So
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's super dope.
I'll get into like what made you pursue a career in that? Like, why did you want to get into production in television and film? My Harley Davidson's just, I don't know if y'all hear it, just really by in the streets. How'd you get into TV and film? Like, what was that a passion you always had, or?
No, honestly, that came back from like 2004, like when I was in high school. I was doing like after school program, playing chess, and like doing like different type of things. And then my teacher said, hey, you should join this nonprofit inside Bronx called the Ghetto Film School. You can actually like learn how to make films. And for me, like we don't have, to me, like I come from a family, like we don't have filmmakers in my family. Like we don't have directors, editors, people that work in the industry. So for me, that world was not really a world that I knew about. But the Ghetto Film School, they came and said, hey, you guys could be filmmakers. Like this is a viable career for you. Especially coming up from a different background where your story matters as well. So from there, it's kind of like just that spark in my head. Say, hey, maybe video content, could be something that I could be making money out of eventually. So I started from like 2004, and through high school and college, I was still doing video content. I freelanced, did some gigs for MTV, did some casting stuff. So I feel like my skill set is like different ranges, from casting, from producing, from editing, from now, doing my own digital content work, so coming in from like that early stage, I was able to experience different skill sets and different, like jobs in the industry. Yeah.
How you feel about the climate of today's industry? Now that there's more, I'm gonna use the term Latinx, but I don't subscribe to that term. Now that there's more Latino material, because I know you said 2004, we didn't have much representation as far as like our stories or a show or maybe a movie at that time. How do you feel about today's climate and today's production that's being put out?
Today, I feel like we're definitely making a lot of moves. I feel like there's been kind of like a spotlight on like, just diverse content, especially, with the success of Parasite, and, you have, so you have Atlanta, you have Insecure, you have, all these different TV shows that are, that are up and coming that people actually are watching. So, for Hollywood, it's like, you guys are missing out on like this economy boom where, we have Black Panther that, broke records.
Yo, that's
A lot of these films that, that are coming in now that, are now making the case that says that, we can actually sell theaters, we can actually sell movies, and we can actually sell tickets. So I feel like right now, we're still making a dent, but I feel like, we have a long way to go still.
I was gonna say, where do you feel like we're lacking though? Because obviously we always like there's a lack you, and we've heard it a lot. I think I hear it a lot. I also feel the same way as there's a lot of like, in the African American community, even not even African American, like it just in general, they kind of just stick together. The BAT, the Tyler Perrys, they find a way to kind of support each other and all that. How do you feel like? Where do you feel we are lacking in that? Where we could make
as far as Latinos, you mean, right?
Yeah, as far as Latinos.
Well, here's the thing with Latinos, and this is just me being like 100 transparent. We're a really wide range of people. Like we all have kind of like the same culture and kind of sort of Latinos, Hispanic, but for us, we don't really unite when it comes to media. If you think about it, like now, there is content being made, but that content is being made more for South Americans as opposed to being made for more a broader Latino audience. So for me, like we're like, what's the change that needs to be happening? It's us uniting together and actually not fighting for the same opportunities or fighting for the same like contracts. I feel like when we work as a unit, we could actually make a bigger stride in the industry. So for me, it's just working together, and I'm always open to working with a wide range of people. If you have the same like work ethics as me, then I could definitely see ourselves working together in different capacities.
I hear that. I think so the problem I feel for me too is that term, right? Like the Latino, Latinx, whatever you want to, it comes in so many different shapes and forms. There's like, there's the side of the Latinx culture that's like non-English speaking. Now there's the English market. Like we have some homies. I mean, these are your homies too. You guys work on this stuff. We're gonna ask you about this in general, but like Tommy and Ivan. I feel like they're kind of, to me, I see them in a lot of stuff they're doing and the work they're doing, and it's so crazy because they have like a lot of the younger people fucking with them, but truthfully, a lot of older people too, because a lot of their stuff mixes in some Spanish and like the language stuff, they kind of get back and forth with it too. I feel like they're touching a lot of different, and they're not just touching the Dominican or like our uptown kind of culture. They are people because they kind of are doing both. Like they're kind of saying, okay, young people, the English side of it, the Spanish side of it. I think that's what happens. And I feel like our shit gets all. You have to kind of try to market to so many different types of Latinx, Latino that it's hard.
There's no perfect way to go about it.
Bring everybody under that one umbrella sometimes. I feel.
Yeah.
That's completely my opinion based on my limited knowledge of it, but it just seems like there's so much shit that you got to cover in order to like say, yo, it's all of us. That's one of the things that I think makes it hard. Is that something that you approach in your content? Like, do you look at that, or am I going to touch everybody? Am I gearing this towards like what's your
So my approach now when it comes to just like content in general, especially for Latinos, because for me, I feel like I'm focusing more now on that demographic because honestly, like there's not a lot of content catered to our people. So for me, like there's a big ass void in like the industry. But the way I always view my content when it comes to Latino content is that no matter whether it's, Black, Hispanics, or, like whatever your background might be, Mexican, for me, it's about if the content is good. And to me, like, I don't want to make it about one, let's say about Dominicans and Puerto Ricans. To me is, let's make a show that's great about just being a person. Right. And so what that the person is Black, Hispanic. And if, to me, throughout the show, you'll see the culture references and you'll learn about it. But to me, the show should not just be about you having to deal with your grandma, having to deal, with certain things from our community that to me gets always shown on camera, right? Almost every TV show you see right now, it's based on the exact same formula, trouble at home, you got to deal with something with your grandma, you got to do something with your community. I feel like, to me, we should be making content as a general story about just being a person. And so happens that this person is, oh shit, they're Dominican. And I can see why he goes through this way because, like it's the American culture now. So it's like, to me, I want to tell stories about just being a person. And then it so happens that I'm Latino. That's kind of like my approach to content nowadays.
I hear that.
So do you, you were talking about your process right now, and that is actually the prime. We tried to go in that route where it's more of a broader audience. Because I feel if you could relate on a story or a situation that someone else has been through, it doesn't matter like what your background is, you'll be able to relate and you'll enjoy it. Yeah. But what are some of the projects you have worked on? And what are some things that you're currently in the middle of working on right now?
Projects that I worked on before?
Yeah.
I worked on a few projects. I think like one of my favorite projects was working on, the Get Down with Baz Luhrmann, because, we shot the behind the scene for it. Bunch of politics behind it, bunch of politics behind it, but, the thing just being in the presence of, like a director that's well known to that level. He's like, to me, he's a master director, right? And then being able to actually work on a show to see it from the beginning to end, where you actually saw them writing the script, you saw meeting the actors. And, I feel like when you meet somebody like Baz, it's them believing in your vision and then say, hey, you guys are the next thing, coming up. So let me give you guys full access. So for me, one of my favorite projects is working on the Get Down, being able to actually meet one of the top filmmakers in the world and seeing how, how able, how helpful he was with us, no matter, we're a small production house from the Bronx. This guy is kind of like, a Hollywood elite almost. So, being able to actually, open doors for us, like really kind of teach us also at the same time, was pretty, for me, was one of my best moments.
Amazing.
Projects I'm working right now, it's, pay projects. We're talking to a museum right now about doing some digital content. The pandemic happened and production, had to be really put on hold for a lot of different projects. And we're now getting companies coming to us and say, hey, we want to work with you guys. You guys have like any concept ideas for some of these projects, we can work with you. So I feel like every week
Because a lot of companies are going to be starving for content because not a lot of people are filming content and a lot of stuff was put on hold.
Exactly. So right now, we're getting emails from companies. We got email actually from Complex about some video content. But I feel like every week we're getting different emails from companies saying, hey, we talked in the past, we want to, reconnect, like what are you guys working on right now? So that's one of the good things. But for me, the industry is going to change completely, as far as safety measures. The pandemic happened and, right now everybody is going to be really cautious about working and, being surrounded around people and, production, you're actually are touching people, you're right next to the DP, you're right next to the camera, so it's like, how do you create a safe environment for these people and then still make production, cost effective? Because, if you have to hire more people now or, apply different measures, that means it's going to cost more too.
Do you think like instead of doing these really big avant-garde productions, like what we were kind of getting used to in a sense, I feel like people were getting used to like doing big things and, shooting in crazy places because it's only like a flight away or this or that, obviously now that that's changing, how do you think that that's going to kind of like integrate into everything? Do you think you'll see more like, I don't know, like one-man shows or like very small productions with like a team of like, let's say 4 people on set, production wise, and like 3 or 4 actors, like, or sketches or talk shows? Like, where do you see it kind of going?
To me, there might actually be more of a rise on like the indie side of it. Studios got to be very careful because studios, you got to deal with unions, you got to deal with insurance, you got to deal with a lot of different, like people and insurance and companies involved. Indie, people are willing to risk, their own, safety sometimes to make a film, to make something. So for them, it's like, do we risk not having these exact measures, but, create content and be able to sell it to a big studio? I feel like that might be a boom in there. But also I feel like a lot of other studios might get creative and hire, like younger people, that could do graphics, that could actually create content that don't require a lot of, crew members. But then also documentaries. I feel like, docs might be a boom because, you could be able to shoot a documentary on your own sometimes.
We were just discussing documentary. Like, I mean, what are you doing right now during the quarantine? Like, are you actively working or are you kind of more?
How does, you put on pause? Like, what do you?
How do you transition?
Yeah, I mean, for us, it was a little, kind of a transition from being an in-person interview.
And the reason I asked you is because you mentioned documentary. Like, I'll be putting in like full 7-8 hour shifts on Netflix. Prime.
You're working for Netflix now.
And they usually like, the shit that I've been obsessed with right now is like just documentaries and specifically like the disinformation stuff. We were just talking to our director Justin about he was saying he's gonna put me on to a few of them shits. But for me, like those documentaries are the most interesting shit for me right now because it's like one of those things that it's like when this dude Al Gore did the fucking came out and everybody knew it was a big deal, but everybody kind of like was just like, oh yeah, I guess it. But like this disinformation shit is crazy. It's affecting us every fucking day. Yeah. But everybody's treating it like, nah, what the fuck are you gonna do? Like that's just what it is. And so like that's been my obsession. But I wanted to know I'm just making the assumption that other people are like me and spend 8 hours a day watching fucking but other shit that you gotta do and you're probably doing other things. But what is it that you're watching or what are you doing? What are you?
So right now, I feel like since March, right? So I've been home since March and I feel like when the pandemic started happening, I feel like people got nervous. So, like business got really quiet. But I feel like the past 2 or 3 weeks, I feel like now that, people are, like being more careful, the numbers are going down, I feel like people are now starting to pick things back up. So, we're getting a few contracts. We got a project we're doing, with this nonprofit in the Bronx. but the way we now produce content got to be more creative. So
Well, if it makes you feel any better, you can come to Florida because apparently Florida's like the exception to the Rona rule because everybody's out here wilding out. They look at me like I'm crazy because I go to the store. Like I went to the store one time to get essentials and I went in gloves, covered, glasses, head to toe with my mask. And they're like, okay, why are you putting it on when you leave the house? Put it on when we get in the store. I'm like, are you crazy? I wouldn't even leave my house in New York without having my mask on and my gloves on. Like, they're like, nah, we only wear it like literally in the store around people. And then that's it. We take it off. And they have parties. I've seen like friends calling me. I did a drive-by, like a birthday. Like I thought it was going to be like a little birthday car thing.
Yeah.
We went and they were all having a big old party, like nothing, and shooting skits and dancing, and everybody was like bachatea. I was like, oh no, no,
crazy,
outside.
Crazy in Florida.
Yeah, Florida's a different place. I don't.
Different. Yeah. No, but to me, documentaries will definitely be a rise because they're easy to make. Like most documentaries are either archive footage, the Jordan doc. You saw that Jordan doc.
That was fantastic.
So it's funny. I have a story because I was in LA in a meeting, right? And I was talking to this LA executive, and I'm pitching him this documentary that I'm down to. This kind of like my passion project, my doc series about land trap, creating a doc about all these up and coming artists, the rise of land trap, and how it's like dominating the charts. So I'm pitching this idea, and the guy tells me, like it's cool, but documentaries don't really sell, So like for us, we won't even be investing in it. And I'm like, telling you, man, like documentaries, you could still make content that is engaging. And then the Jordan
thing
comes
is,
out.
People like learning, especially now you're sitting at home. There's only so much you can watch as far as like fiction. You like to watch that Jordan series. It was 10 episodes. It was something you really had to digest and really get into. It was well shot. Not only that documentary, but I watched the Tiger King thing was interesting.
Well, we were talking about the Undertaker one too, because it was
the Undertaker documentary.
I haven't seen that one. Is it good?
Oh my God. It's just as good as the Jordan doc.
Fire.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh,
to the point where you hear his voice and you're like, that's the Undertaker. Like it's like that in his world.
He just allowed a camera to follow him during his last couple WrestleManias, and they did a confessional with him. And it's a whole nother side of him. But he's the perfect subject piece because he's a guy that
what happened?
Really saw much.
Did it hurt?
Besides,
where did you step? Where were you?
But it is just as good as the Jordan doc, maybe even better.
So they did the same thing with Kobe. Kobe basically recorded his last year, so that doc's gonna be crazy.
That's why you have to put
There's gonna be a doc also on Sammy Sosa and Mark McGuire.
That I want to see.
So it's just it's a way. And I saw the Capone movie.
You just hurt yourself with something. Put a band-aid on it. It's in the gaveta where the crema is. I know. Sorry, guys.
Oh, good.
No, go ahead.
I was saying that sports documentaries, they always been kind of like a draw, right? I feel like that's, in terms of the documentary world, the one like type of documentary that I feel like draws bigger audience probably than other documentaries is like sports shit.
I think also
I feel like that was the one that they used to have on HBO. I don't know
the boxing.
Nah, they had one that it was a sport. It was like I think it was football. They had one with the
you're talking about Hard Knocks where they would follow a team.
Yeah. I feel like people like to be able to see what the fuck's going on with sports teams more than like I feel like that's always been, to me, kind of like a draw.
So I have a question then. So now we're talking about smaller productions, and before that we talked about like kind of like the transition from bigger to the smaller one, especially now with this whole COVID and documentaries. How do you feel about like the Nicki Jam, like Netflix? Because that was semi-documentary, but it was also there was a lot of production to it. But no, because now
you in that fucking documentary.
No,
What?
No, because I like it because I feel like it captivated in two different ways. But not only that, we're talking about Latino market, and if we're talking Latino market, you could talk Undertaker, you could talk Jordan, you could talk sports, all you want. But let's be real: if he's focused on a Latin market basis, there's not much to go by in our industry, and that's one of the very few things that is modern, that is relevant, that is right now. Yeah. So how does that compare? And where do you see, if you could pick 3 documentaries, or like kind of what would you like to see if we could develop more in
I like the Maluma one better than the Nicki Jam. Have you seen the Maluma one?
Yes, I heard about the Maluma one. So I feel like the way docs are going to work for me, at least in the future, is that you pick one amazing subject or a person, and then you mix them with, story. Like the reason why Jordan, you mix it with culture. So the reason why that Jordan doc was amazing is because Jordan is a life figure. Like everybody knows Michael Jordan, right? Mm-hmm. So we grew up on Michael Jordan. So the people that didn't grow up on Michael Jordan, they're actually watching that documentary to learn about Michael Jordan now. So I feel like it's it's a topic that it's very to me it's very relevant, so it's popular. For me,
he affects the basketball culture. He's a transcendent athlete.
Yep.
The sneaker culture.
The businessman. Also,
he's a businessman.
There's an industrial complex.
Yeah. That's listen. That's the one knock on Jordan. Honestly,
now jeans gotta go.
The jeans. I'm talking about when they make that comparison to him and LeBron. The one.
Now I feel like Jordan is one of those people that is like, he's like one of the Michaels, like Michael Jordan, Michael Jackson, you know what I'm saying? Like Mike Tyson, like they are people that you're not gonna compare nobody else.
Yeah.
You're always gonna fall short comparing anybody else to whatever they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Because they just did it at a time when nobody else could have did it that way. And even if somebody does it as good now, it still won't be as big as when they did it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I wanna steer this back. Now you're home, you're locked up, right? What are some producers and directors that you like to watch? That you hear the name, you're like, oh, as an example, The Irishman was coming out. You know that this was, oh my God, Martin Scorsese. Mm-hmm. What is a name that you hear? Not necessarily that you're a fan, but you enjoy the quality of work.
Honestly, I'm watching like a lot of documentaries right now. Like I don't really have a name, but I just been benching on documentaries. Like I watch Tiger King. You guys got to watch the Muhammad Ali HBO documentary. Like,
I think is that My Name Is.
Yeah. So for me, I just been like I've been watching a lot of documentaries. I've been trying to like figure out a way for me to stay motivated. Also, I feel like this pandemic. To me, I come from background work. I love just working at my job. So having to stay home for 2 months is just draining. But I've been able to just like bench on content, trying to stay motivated. Watching a lot of Netflix documentary. Like Netflix to me, like really is supposed to making documentaries more interesting. They're pumping dollars into it, and a lot of great content's coming out of it.
Yo, I was gonna ask you about what you think about the BuzzFeed stuff. Actually, you didn't answer the question. You said who you're watching. Rick asked you who you're watching. My bad, right?
No, I'm watching.
You said mostly documentaries.
It's mostly and Casa de Papel. She's amazing.
Which one?
So,
Papel?
Money Heist. La Casa de Papel.
Oh yeah,
amazing.
So Craze has been. I got one for you. It's called Locked Up.
Okay.
It's done by the same type of production team that kind of did Money Heist, and you'll see some of the actors in it. So Craze is mad at me because I've been into Spanish cinema lately. So you've been binging on docs. I've been watching like a lot of Spanish cinema. Their quality of work is insane.
Bro, I just hope that because you've been watching all this shit in Spanish, that you could hold more than 3 seconds in Spanish.
Wait, when you say Spanish, are we talking about like Spain content?
Spain content, yeah.
Do you understand most of it, or do you subtitle it?
I watch it completely in, like when I saw Money Heist, I've seen it 3 times. The first time I saw it completely in Spanish. The second time I watched it in English. And then the third time I watched it in Spanish with English subtitles to see, because their Spanish is completely different than ours.
Yeah, Castilian Spanish is a whole nother ballgame.
Catalunya. I'm watching Locked Up now, which is called Vis-a-Vis, and it's a Netflix show. It's called Locked Up.
Okay.
It's kind of like Orange is the New Black, but it's a real version of what would it be if women were locked up.
Okay.
Very interesting. It's like Orange is the New Black and Oz mashed up into one.
Okay. I mean, you got me kind of interested in watching.
So it's very good. The acting is very good.
Shows, I don't know. But
so that's what I've been into.
Izzy, the shit I want to ask you is BuzzFeed is doing a ton of shit on Netflix now, I realize. And like I actually am feeling it. Like they got this show about like history. It's called like Ruining History.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. It's one of those like what was that dude that did like the Talk Soup shit? I forgot his name.
Joel McHale.
Joel McHale.
Like his style of shit, but they're talking about history. It's kind of like that drunk history show, but
Or Comedy Central did something like that too.
yeah. But it's just I like
doing videos for Netflix, is it?
Yeah, they have like a few things. They have this other shit where they talk about like influencers and hustles and different shit. There's been a few different things that I've seen on Netflix done by BuzzFeed, like BuzzFeed TV or something like that. Okay. And if you haven't checked that out, I would check that stuff out. It reminds me like of shit you would see like online content. Shit like
how long is it? Like how long?
Some of them be short. Some of them be like 8 minutes. Some of them be like 20 minutes.
Because I feel like that's been so popular now, especially with like even that app that came out, Quibi, where it's like all like 10-minute episodes of things.
Episode.
Yeah, they're like all 10-minute episode of like things. Like how?
I think it's good. I think people's attention span is fucking short as fuck right now. So
yes, it is.
You know, to me, like I don't think Quibi. It's like my own personal opinion. I don't think Quibi is going to be able to sustain itself. To me, like we're not used to like seeing like episodes be 10 minutes. I mean, that's more like a YouTube thing, maybe.
Yeah.
To me, like as far as like pumping, dude, like they pump a lot of money into
a lot of money. Just look at the people who are endorsing it.
You're like, dude, like you're spending that much money.
And the
actors gonna hire maybe like a few YouTube creators to actually do something differently and then put money behind that. That would have made more money than them hiring all these productions for them to do.
Not only that, they're also buying shows from other networks.
Yeah.
So Reno 911 was a Comedy Central show. They went to Comedy Central and they bought the rights to the show and they're reproducing the show. So when you're bringing a show over like that, you have to go and hire the cast that was on that show. And it's not cheap to have actors, television actors, on a different network and for just 10 minutes.
And they have big old celebrities too. It's not like they just have like, like TV show people. Like they have big movie stars on there like doing content as well, which I thought was crazy.
So DB produced a show along with Tommy and Ivan called La Factoria. Talk to me about that for a little bit, because a lot of people that we have in common were on that show. And I don't think I've ever shown you the clip, but we had Tommy.
Izzy was the one that took me out of La Factoria.
Wow. You're gonna expose me like that?
That
wasn't even me.
We had Tommy and Ivan on the show, and Ivan was talking about why he loves working with you so much. I'll send you the clip one of these days.
Yeah,
he basically said he came to you with the idea and you broke it down to him like, for me to work with you, I need X, Y, and Z. I need a script. I need this. I need that. And Ivan, he talks about it. He's like, I had no idea how to write a script ever. Mm-hmm. And I had to research it and I learned it on my own. And now anything I do, I write a script. So talk to me about working with Tommy and Ivan and what is La Factoria and what was the process behind that?
Yeah, so the history with Tommy and Ivan is so I actually hired Tommy to like work on this Warner Brothers PSA as like the superhero. So I actually had Tommy like work with me, I think 2015. And then, we stayed in touch. And then around 2017, I was on YouTube. And like part of kind of like my phase, like when I became in charge of DB was like to start creating more original content about my culture and my people. So I go on YouTube and I'm searching like, like documentaries about, let's say Bad Bunny or, like even Daddy Yankee. Knowing like, that Daddy Yankee's been around since like 95, you guys saw that video of him from way back. But if you look at our demographic, like there's no content about like none of these artists, and these artists are putting bigger numbers than Drake sometimes. You know, bigger artists, bigger numbers than
Most
like
streamed artists on Spotify. Top 3.
Spotify, YouTube, and then you look at like, okay, but where's the content for this? And there's no content there. So like, you know what? Like I'm going to create the content. I'm going to pitch for it. And then I told Thomas, hey, Tommy, you know, like I reached out to a bunch of people. Say, hey, to me, we'll love, you know, if you could connect me to, let's say like Dali, you know, because Dali at the time was one of the biggest artists in New York as far as the land trap movement. So, you know, Tommy said, hey, you know, like, look, I know these guys, you know, come to the studio, you know, and you'll meet them. It took Tommy maybe 2 or 3 days to you know, actually make that happen. While it took maybe like people that I knew didn't even bother to help me out. I always hold dear Tommy and Evan because like whenever I need something from them, they're always there to actually help me out with it. So Tommy and Ivan came to me and said, hey, you have this great idea. Like, what if we take The Office and make that into a Spanish version of it? And for me, you know, I had to actually school them on, you know, like, how do you actually bring something, you know, to the table, you know, from writing a script, from casting, from actually creating a story structure, you know, like a lot of their experience is mostly like IG, and you can't create IG content and then bring it to, you know, to actual like TV or just, you know, like YouTube.
Yeah, you're going from 60 seconds to 30 minutes is a big difference.
Yeah, you got to start writing characters, you got to start writing scenes, locations, and, you know, story structure. So, you know, for me, it was just like, this is a way for me to one, you know, like help my people, but also bring something to the market that's different. And, you know, part of me right now is just like, how do we create content that really generates an audience, but also make sure that we're telling stories about our own community and, you know, like with our own people. Like, it's not, you know, like a company like Vice going out there or a company like Complex where, you know, like they don't know our culture. They're seeing it from an outsider perspective, as for us at DB and you guys, we're actually living that culture. So for me, that's the difference between stuff that we're working on. It's more about, you know, how do we bring our story to the table, but do it in a way that, you know, has quality as well. So, you know, we're working right now on another few shows as well. So we're always pitching too. So, yeah.
So
we got the pleasure of watching a couple of episodes. Yeah, that shit is fucking fire.
I mean, it's hilarious. It's in Spanish, but the jokes translate, and if you get to see it, you're gonna like it. So we got a segment on this show that we do. It's called 3, 2, 1. Basically, 3 things you've watched during quarantine, 2 things you've listened to or read, and 1 thing you do to keep your sanity. Besides mess with Django.
Yeah, he doesn't leave me alone. Like, he really doesn't leave me. Like, he's been here the entire time.
Chilling.
Wait, so what's the 3-1? The 3 things that what?
3 things you've watched.
Oh, 3 things I watch.
2 you might have read or listened to, and 1 thing you do to keep yourself sane.
So 3 things I watch. Do I rewatch The Wire? Just from like,
I'm in the middle of it right now, season 4.
Dude, just from like writing, you know, like developing stories and characters. That show is just amazing. Like, to me, it might be like my favorite TV show ever, The Wire. Tiger King, Pandemic. Dude, the Pandemic, just from like a filmmaking perspective, it's, you know, to me, it was amazing to go back and forth between each person on camera, but then also the Jordan doc. To me, that doc was well executed, well put together. 2 things that I read or listened to. I'm a podcast guy. I almost like listening to a lot of political podcasts. Trump is fucking up the entire country, but so I watch that or I listen to that a lot. And then 1 thing that keeps me sane or, you know, from going crazy, it's I just go outside and I ride my bike, you know, like for exercise. Gain mad weight, but you know, trying to stay healthy.
Everybody has. I just had, you said something and I was like, man, I got something else for you to watch.
What?
When it comes back to me, I'll let you know what it is. But I've been watching Boardwalk Empire and The Wire together, and to see what Michael K. Williams did on The Wire and what he did on Boardwalk and the range that he has as an actor.
Oh no, yeah, that was amazing, dude.
Yeah, man. I fuck with that was one of the best characters in the whole show. I think Omar Stringer Bell.
Dude.
I think that
Ring
was
Bell, Omar, McNulty.
I love The Wire, but dude, so I watched The Wire like the first time, I think, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and I was like, yo, Stringer Bell's amazing. And I watched it again now, I'm like, Stringer Bell's an asshole. Like,
yeah. That's
what?
You know what The Wire is like to me in that way? It's kind of like Breaking Bad to me, because did you watch Breaking Bad?
Yeah.
All right, so I watched Breaking Bad 3 times, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the first time I watched it while it was going on, like season to season, I was actually following it. So I would wait a year between seasons, whatever, right? Now, I watched the whole show, and the first time I watched it, I was like, yo, wow, damn, like all this shit's crazy. Like I looked at it from like damn, this fucking Jesse's always fucking this shit up. Like,
yeah, exactly. How to do what he had to do and shit. And then
And the second time I watched it, I was like,
you kind of feel for Jesse.
what?
Yeah, exactly.
Walt is actually a fucking asshole from the beginning. And then the third time I watched it, and it had a little bit of other context as I watched, but I started watching Better Call Saul, like a little bit.
That show was better, dude. I heard it was better than
bro. It's like, listen, I can't say.
Who told you about it?
You didn't tell me about that shit.
I did not. Oh my god.
Here we go.
All right, Craig, go ahead.
I haven't seen it.
We're always having this argument because Rick is the type of person.
That show I put you on to.
You'll put him onto some shit, and then he'll come back and tell you about it. Like if he's putting you on, like, bro,
I'm putting you on right now. I told you about Better Call Saul.
But the third time I watched it, and like, there's a perspective of Gustavo of Frame. Once you get some context.
Oh, he's a fucking fantastic character, man.
From Better Call Saul, you kind of like, you know what? Fuck Walt and fuck Jesse and fuck everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's to me, it was like watching 3 different shows, like depending on when and how you consume it too. I feel like now everybody consumes shows, like everybody binges now. Like, I won't watch a show while it's going on. I'll wait and I'll binge it. But before, I used to be like one of those people that on Sunday night, I was like, nah, bro, I got to get home. The
Sopranos coming on, and then The Wire's coming on right afterwards. So
I haven't seen any of those shows. Not
so
one.
We're going to mute your mic right now for saying that, because that's television.
Sorry, guys.
What I'm watching it now, I got an appreciation for Daniels and Freeman. Lester Freeman.
Okay. Yeah, Freeman, yeah, I can see that.
Because Freeman's the one that basically takes the case. Like, McNulty,
he does all the heavy lifting for sure.
McNulty wanted to do something, he didn't know how to go about it.
Crazy, dude. I couldn't stand him at that time. I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you doing?
But his heart's in the right place. He's just crazy.
That character's based off Rick, by the way.
It is. And then you have the bunk, right? Who is like Craze Boogie, quiet, and he gives him advice and he tells him, yo, you know what you're doing? This is what's gonna happen. But he doesn't listen.
Still doesn't, yeah.
But Daniels, I feel for, because he just tries to do the job the way he wants to, and he gets pulled in different directions and he caves in.
Bro, that show just had too many good characters, bro. Because like,
dude, I love that show because not to cut you off, but you think about the show, like the show has like a layer. Right? You think about like that show as in layers, right? That show is telling you why there's a problem in Baltimore.
Exactly.
Yeah, from every different person
every angle
that's impacted by it. From
the school.
Like the character, it has so many fucking complex characters. Like Wallace, I like Michael B. Jordan. I'll never.
Bugs, man. Bodie. Dude, come on, like, they have to kill Bodie, man. I hate that.
And also, Rawls is an asshole.
Oh yeah,
on the show. But it shows you like NYPD, cops, I'm not gonna say NYPD, when they're at that point, they're more about number driven. Because you see cops and you're like, oh, this cop's an asshole. But it takes you behind the scene and lets you see how the shit trickles down. And he's just basically, I don't want new murders. I don't want you to bring some heat on me. I just want to put in my number.
Who wrote the character of fucking Clay Davis? That was magical. That dude.
I understand. Yo, that character, man.
I love that shit.
It was because
such a political guy. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people like that in fucking Congress.
The writing on the show is from someone who was involved in the Baltimore Police Department and somebody who was involved in the Baltimore Sun, and lived through all that, and they got together and they put the story together. Like they put it. The Deuce is also done by David Simon, which is a pretty good show. That's the one that's crazy, like thumbs down. The one I didn't like Tremaine. He did Tremaine. And he did something else too.
You know, Tremaine, I really wanted to love it. I really wanted to. Like I watched like a good 7 episodes of it, and you know, I appreciated, you know, never really knowing what the fuck happened in New Orleans, and I really wanted to like it, but it just was not. Like I feel like their storytelling on it was
maybe if you watch it now, you'll have a different appreciation.
Maybe.
So before we went on live on YouTube, I asked Iz for a number, 1 or 2. That's depending on what deck we're gonna pull from. So he said 2. So here we go. These are random questions I'm gonna pull from a deck of cards. I didn't write these questions. He's never heard. This is gonna be 5 questions. I didn't write these questions. I don't know what they are. He's never heard them. This is not pre-planned or anything.
Oh no, don't put me on the spot with this shit.
How much would someone have to pay you for your little toe?
What?
My toe?
Your little toe.
Wait,
toe.
wait, to take from me or like to
take it?
Keep it.
Take it?
Like in Harlem Nights, where he shot her pinky toe off.
I don't know, maybe $1 million. I don't know, dude. Is
$1 million?
Pinky, man.
Damn, that's an expensive little toe, man.
You can't not keep your balance if you don't have a pinky toe?
Nah, we evolved past that.
You don't have a pinky toe?
No, like if they cut your pinky toe off, I thought your foot couldn't balance. Isn't that like the urban myth?
Is if you lost both pinky toes and your 2 big toes, you wouldn't have any balance.
What?
Oh shit!
I thought it was just your pinky toe.
That's weird.
Question number 2. What's the most awkward thing that happens to you on a regular basis?
I mean,
That's a great question.
I don't know what would be awkward. Oh, dude. Nah, I ain't gonna say this. Never mind.
Come on.
No, it's too late. You're already halfway there.
This Django, bro. So like sometimes, right? Like I don't know where he got this shit from. For like he learns how to fart now. So you know, if I have people over, he might, you know, like be mad quiet out of nowhere. He'll do something like that, and I'm just like, that's not me, by the way.
That's hilarious.
Yes, that's mad embarrassing.
Okay. Would you rather have unlimited sushi for life or unlimited tacos for life?
Oh, do tacos. I hate sushi. That's easy.
Tacos. All right.
That was a no-brainer, huh?
Still pick tacos over anything, anyways. Come on.
Yeah.
Who would you most like to sit next to on a 10-hour flight, and why?
Dude, honestly, it's gonna be like a random ass like answer, but I'll probably say 50 Cent. Yo, people sleep on 50, man.
Nah, you just
No.
I mean, I would say 50 because, bro, 50 took one career, which was rap, and then turned it into multiple different like revenue streams. TV, film, you know, sneakers, I guess, also like
beverage,
clothes.
You know, like liquor, alcohol,
label.
So for me, it's like, you know, like that's entrepreneur. You know, he made it big in one industry, and then now, you know, he expanded. So for me, it's like, how do you, you know, pick his brain? You know, I would love to just sit down with 50.
So the secret to those guys, I'm going to tell you, once you get to 500 million net worth, you invest in a liquor brand. That liquor brand takes you close to $1 billion, and then you have to invest in something else. They always go from music, clothing, liquor. And Jay-Z took a different route. He invested in a couple of different things, and he made a huge conglomerate.
You guys realize
50
do the same thing. Actually, you're right. Like
50 has not only the best show on Stars, but he just got For Life now on ABC, and he's ready to shoot 2 other. He has like 7 shows.
You're like pending.
Television.
That's another show that I wanted to like, but I couldn't really.
Power?
No, Power was okay. It wasn't like
I haven't seen For Life yet. I'm waiting for the whole thing to.
Yeah, I want to see.
My style.
They're both great.
Yeah.
Clarence is like, yo, they're both great.
I mean,
look,
look,
hi, Clarence.
I think Power was cool. I liked it. I liked the characters on it, but I didn't really like For Life. I like the story about the guy because that's based on like a real dude.
Mm-hmm.
he that got like really accused. He got his like law degree in jail and then got out.
Right.
Yeah, he got like his appeal and then wound up getting the dudes like that, the judge and like the prosecutor or some shit that like set him up. And, like it's like a real story. Like I really wanted to like the shit, but it's kind of
Maybe season 2. You got to give shows time, Craze.
What do you like?
You got to give. There's certain shows that I've watched the first season. I'm like, it's okay. Season 2 comes in and they
like that actor is kind of like he does a really good like Denzel-esque, performance. Like he's not
Black Craze, really? And the last
watch it. I'm saying like he does like a
food combination. No, I've seen. What weird food combinations do you really enjoy? So shit that doesn't go together.
I'll put like rice with banana. Like the Dominican thing, like rice and beans and chicken, and you put like a banana, like a yellow banana, something like that.
I fucks with that though.
Then what happened?
Honestly, to me, not even weird though, but it's kind of like the weird mix.
It's not. I've seen it done before in DR.
Yeah.
If you're Dominican,
that's kind of normal. It's like you don't do like cereal with like orange juice or like some weird shit like that.
You do that?
Oh wait. So Jaylah's asking me to go back into the deck and pick a different question. She didn't like that?
I think so. I will executively as the female on the show, and because Izzy's already tried me a couple times, I'm gonna go ahead and make you pull another card.
What are you?
If you had a personal mascot, what would it be?
Personal mascot? A Spartan.
A Spartan?
Yeah. Probably.
Craze would be a hookah with wheels.
I think I'm here, but
a what?
I like the California Bear as my Kodiak.
Right.
Bro, but you're not even from. You see what I mean with this guy?
I just like that. What the fuck you want?
I would like to thank Iz for coming on the show today.
Yeah,
much appreciated, my
brother.
Digital Bodega also produces a podcast.
Hey.
Available now. Iz, if you could plug that in for the people, please.
Yeah, so just go on our YouTube channel and just look at Digital Bodega, and then we got the video podcast there also. On the podcast library. Jack's like doesn't want to get off.
So look out for more DB features.
We're working
guys. Go ahead, Iz.
No, we're working right now on a few original content, and we're looking to like hopefully release those this summer. So, yeah.
Well, if you do something, it's gonna get plugged into our channel. So
appreciate you guys, man.
Yeah, man. We really love what you're doing. We love the fact that you kind of started.
I think we met like a year ago. I think it was, and we
and before we met with you, we like the fact that the Ghetto Film School was like my first. I didn't even know that existed in the Bronx.
I did. I put Craze onto it.
You put me onto that. And like just the fact that it has a kind of like that nonprofit roots to it was like for us, like, yo, that's dope that he was able to kind of like come from where we come from, do this kind of content, and also bring get into this field and bring that shit back, here and do some nonprofit. We're really nonprofit minded. We come from that similar background too. So appreciate the stuff that you've done.
Years in the nonprofit game.
We appreciate the shit that you do on a daily basis, to kind of like
appreciate you.
To bring the Bronx, and that digital.
Craze just loves the fact that you're from the Bronx. That's what.
I love it. I fucking love it.
So, Iz, thank you for coming on to the show. Next week is our season 5 finale. Hopefully for season 6, we'll be back in a studio somewhere recording in person, more content, more production, more videos. Justin, where are you? You in there?
Justin
said we should have Funk Master Flex for the last episode.
To drop a bomb. I hate Funk Flex.
Because I got to confront Funk Master Flex about an incident between me and him, when I was 15 years old. I was working at Haagen-Dazs.
I can't stand you.
He came in there and he tried to skip the line and yelled at me in Haagen-Dazs. So we got to
That's funny.
Just for bringing that to my attention. We're going to
try. So Craze's revenge on Funk Flex.
Just confront him. I just wanted him to own up to what he did.
Flex, play the music, stop dropping bombs on everything. I want to hear the record. Iz, thanks for coming on. Jayla, I'll see you
Yeah.
live from the lawyer's living room, Crazy Boogie. Justin's not going to say goodbye. I'll see you guys next week.
Yes, bye.
Iz, peace, bro.
Bye.